I will say this. Do you have any expectations of me?
No, other than you to be yourself. I just want you to be you.
Good.
Because I love you as you are. I love everything about you as you are. So I don't want you to change. I want you to be you. And I just want you to bring your raw, authentic Tatia to the pod. Like, because you're fucking awesome, bro. Like, I like so sometimes when I'm abroad, like I really be missing all of you guys. Like I swear, like I just like I'm like, why are we so far apart? But I'm also so great that there is technology that I can still like hit up the people that
Yes.
I love so
Yes.
much because I'm just like I hate that we're all so far apart because like I love our people like so much and I love like how we think and like how we behave and I feel like the rest of the world isn't quite like how we are. Like we're so raw, authentically brutal with each other. Like I remember when we like so I had known you, but then when we were really like working together on the team for
Don't
like
put
moot
me
court
out
and you
like
were
that.
like, bro, the first question you asked us was like, do you know what your weaknesses are or something like that? And I was like, oh, I didn't at this point, you know, I thought I was the shit. So I was like, I don't have no weakness. I run this shit. There's a reason they put me on this damn team. And you were like, well, you really don't do much
Oh
reflection,
my
do
god.
you? And I was like, damn. I was
That
like,
sounds like
oh my. But you were right though. But you were so right. But I was like, damn, like nobody had ever like called out my ego so blatantly and was like, oh, so you really must not
you.
do work on
Yeah.
yourself then. And I was like, damn. But like I honestly appreciated it because I was like, she's right. Like, she's right. Like, I was like, "You're so obsessed with how awesome you are. You don't even look at where you have room to grow." And I will say, like, from you saying that, like, I, from that moment on, like, have done deep inner reflection and, like, really, like, took the time to chat even and recognize that I had this ego that, like, thought I was the
You
shit.
know.
And not to say that it was wrong, but, like, to also acknowledge that there were things that I had to work on. And there were things about me that I did have weaknesses, but I was refusing to see
Oh my
them out of
gosh.
like
People
shame or
work so
like
much from ego. And the thing is like when you think of ego, because I always believe like yes, we're beautiful beings. All of us are beautiful beings. We have our strengths because we came into this realm in this world with strengths. But the entire journey is for you to see, well, oh, I lack in this aspect or I lack in that aspect, and it's okay. But a lot of people work from ego and they're posting, they like social media be really doing a lot of people things
it's
and they
pretty much like you being your own PR person, so you feel obligated to let people know that you're awesome.
but I think everyone is great and they're well, let me not lie. Some people are shitty people. But yeah. But
You're right.
I
You
know
know,
you were great.
you gotta say it as it
This
is. Yeah.
first of all, I do not remember that, and I really need to start remembering what I was telling people.
Bro, I remember the most random shit
I
all the time,
really,
but don't worry. Like
I really.
I am trust me, I'm not mad or offended that you said that. I'm actually really
Oh,
happy
I'm
that
not a.
you called
I'm.
me out because I was just like, she's right. Like I at that age was just so used to always winning or like
Yeah,
being on the top that like I had nobody ever check me because I was like, bro, I'm the queen of the nerds. What you
exactly. And
talking
I was like, yeah,
about? Like
I know you. I know you to always be really good at what you do. You do your best, and stuff like that. But I'm like, everyone has
and
weaknesses.
you're right. I do have many
Damn,
weaknesses.
I can't believe I told you that. But I've seen so much how
No,
much you've
but I
grown.
appreciate
I've
it.
seen how much you've
Exactly.
grown, and I'm so proud of you.
Aw.
And I want you to know that I'm very
Aw.
proud of you. I've seen how much
Aw.
you've grown, most importantly, on your personal development and your relationship with yourself.
Exactly. It's tough because it you when you like you it's you versus you. And it's like you said, only you can do the work for yourself and like you have to want to do that work and it's difficult. And that's why honestly like as much as like I feel like a lot of people would have heard what you said and been like, this bitch got a whole ass fucking attitude. Like, who the hell does she think she is? I actually was like, this is someone that can teach you something. You know,
Yo,
this is someone that like you should be around. They're gonna push you in ways that like you aren't pushing yourself or the people around you right now aren't pushing you and you need someone to
you
push you
know,
in this way
that's the
because it's only going
funniest
to
thing.
benefit you.
Everyone thinks I'm a bitch because because I will be the most brutally honest with you. Like,
You're hella
Everyone
intimidating.
thinks
Like even just your face, bro. You're hella
everyone thinks I'm a
intimidating.
bitch, but I'm like a gentle giant, and I really just want the
I know.
best.
I love that about you. That's what I love, bro. I love you so much because as much as like I'll be like on social media just seeing all these people like inflating their egos, I'll go to your story and you'll just be talking like hella smack through subtleties, and I'm just there dying on the other end. Like,
I try my best. First of all, like I really see how social media. This is the great thing about social media. Everyone has a platform.
yes,
That's also the bad thing about social media. Everyone has a platform.
yes,
And the thing is,
exactly.
I can see people post things, and I'm like, you're not about that life. You're talking about self love and healing. Heal what? Go fix your daddy issues that you know you have been you're trying to avoid. I see you.
Ooh.
Like you gotta see.
It's like I
I
see
see
through
through
it,
a lot of
okay?
things, and I'm very blessed to have that sort of, like that gift that I can see through a lot of things. And you can call out people, and they're like, "Oh, you're a bitch," but then later on in life, where you kind of just, I came to like that's one thing I liked about myself, but I didn't like because if you were so honest with people and you think you're coming from a place of like, well, this is what people want,
Love, you're trying to help them.
you
Yeah.
get when, oh, you're a bitch.
And you know what's interesting about that? I think it's more of the fear. I think it's more of like you're so brutally honest with them and they're not even honest with themselves that the fear of someone seeing through the facade, like your immediate ego's reaction is
Exactly.
to defend
It's a
yourself.
defense mechanism. And even when some people, when I call them out, they start to get aggressive. And I said, let me tell you something. Sometimes I'm
I'm
not
not
fighting you. Like,
afraid, first of all.
I could care less if you grow or you develop. But sometimes people speak from a place that is beyond them, you know?
Mm,
It's beyond. They speak from
yes.
a point, I would say, of spirit, that it comes from,
Yeah.
let's say, a other being that they're just talking to you. And I'm
You're just being a vehicle
they're
for,
just
yeah,
being a medium.
exactly.
They're speaking towards you, and they're saying, you know what, you need to do this, but it's not something that you don't already know.
Yeah.
It's I agree with you fully. People run from themselves. They already know what they need to fix, and
Preach.
instead of actively doing the work and say, you know what, I need to change this about myself. I am a bit arrogant. I'm not saying you have to be humble. I mean, know you're the shit, and by all means speak life into yourself every day. Speak life into yourself, but we're not perfect. We're spiritual beings having a human existence.
Precisely. No, I couldn't agree more because like I think for me sometimes it's hard like you wanted me to mention this, but like for me it's hard to be honest because I think it's not that I'm afraid to necessarily be honest. It's like I feel like if I'm brutally honest about like what I think and like how I feel and all the things that like really go on in my head, then I would somehow isolate myself. Because in me being brutally honest, you essentially like you're not saying things to people just because you know that's what they want to hear. You're telling them what you really genuinely think, which is not necessarily what everybody like as much as someone can ask you for their opinion, like when they ask you for it, but they don't really want your
I
opinion. They just want you to
fully
be a
understand.
sounding board for like what they already believe. So they just want you to be their hype man. They don't really
Yeah,
want you to
too
give
much
them your
people want
opinion.
yes men, and that's the thing.
And I don't. It's like I want you to challenge me. Like I want you to tell me that I'm wrong and I want you to push me and like really make me have to defend myself. Like or defend my thoughts and
That's
beliefs,
the thing.
and not
If you
just
have
be
to
like, "Oh
come
yeah,
from a
you're
place, I
right."
think if you have to come from a place to defend, that's not a good place to start from. You have to come from a place
Mm,
of saying, well, these are my beliefs, and I'm fully accepting of those. And
that's so beautiful.
yeah, because that's why I think like why I've come to terms with, yeah, I'm honest. I'm brutally honest. People say I'm brutally honest. But if I speak to people who I have now, like really in my circle who are close by me, it's one of the things that everyone admires about me. I'm not a yes man. I'm gonna give you a different perspective of things, and that's the authenticity that I need from everyone. I'm not gonna think I'm wrong until you prove me wrong, but I can really appreciate someone else's perspective on something.
Exactly.
Because I mean, like, okay, remember we have the saying, "Don't give me a 6 for a 9," right?
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, a 6 and a 9 looks quite similar. I can see a 6, you
Yeah,
can.
and depending on the perspective,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
So I feel everyone should can have their opinion, and they can be sound in their opinion. I don't have to agree with it. But I just like to see and admire how people mind work and how it ticks.
It is interesting, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because it's like you realize like some people they're delusional and they're like feeding their own delusion to the point where like you reach a point where like their reality is no longer like reality, and anybody that tries to just be like, no, I don't agree with
I
that,
always
then
say those
it's like
people are very insecure.
defense.
It just comes from a place of insecurity.
Yeah,
If I
it really
if I
does.
challenge you on what you're saying, if you challenge someone and the first thing they're gonna be is defensive, I'm like, oh, so you're insecure.
I'm like, you lost. You already lost. Like you got
And
emotional out of it when it shouldn't
and
be like.
that's the thing.
For me, like the emotional responses like are childish. Like when you're a child, you don't know any better than to just feel how you feel and react. But I assume like as you get older, you're supposed to have like emotional maturity.
No. Because a lot of people are traumatized and they still are emotionally ate. And that's it.
This is
And if
true.
you see people, um, I was having this conversation with someone. You have to see people in a point of a spirit or in a point of a soul. If you see them as that instead of like flesh, everything becomes quite clearer.
Much clearer. Yeah.
So if you see someone acting out, and if you just see them like, let's say, in the perspective of their inner child, so emotionally they're only 6 or 8, the entire way you will interact with them will change. Because you could be speaking to someone who's maybe 30 years old, 25, but you're speaking to them emotionally as an 8-year-old.
Precisely.
Don't bother yourself. 8-year-olds are not rational.
Which is like the majority of social media, right? It's like all 8-year-olds just
They
chiming away. I swear, the day Instagram crashed, like as much as I had a little panic attack that something's wrong with my phone or like something, I was low key like, can it stay like this?
I
Can
was
we
like,
just permanently break this
so
shit?
much people look for validation from Instagram. You know when it crashed, right? I was like, oh, this is it. I started reading. I did what I do on a regular day.
Right? Like it's like this doesn't matter. Now people just don't know that I'm reading and I'm eating avocado toast for
Exactly.
breakfast. Boo hoo for the world.
Everyone was
Oh, they
crying.
didn't
I
know.
just wanted to make sure, okay, like, okay, let me FaceTime my family. I talk to my family. Okay, you all are right. I'm gonna go amongst my business and enjoy my day. How everyone was crying and oh my god, I said, wow, mind your children.
Yeah,
Go
imagine.
play
Like
outside with your
imagine
kids.
influencers. Bro, I feel like for influencers for a second it was like their whole livelihood was just
I was
gone. Like it
laughing.
was just like now you're
Yep,
nobody, you're back to square one. Nobody knows who you are, nobody cares. And for me it's like why did you think at any point anybody ever cared? Like for me the issue with fame and like Instagram it's like you think like you get this like and I think I realized this especially when I was a lot younger, being put on a pedestal by others and it leads to like you having a reputation or like you start to find your self-worth from other people's praise, instead of it being like internally driven. And I think like a lot of people, especially like young st.maarteners that want to be influencers, I'm really concerned because I think like that can't be good for your mental health at this age. It's so young to be so desperately seeking validation from other people. And as much as like influencers, it is a career now. Like, I think a lot of it imagine you get to a point where, like, famous people when they're not famous anymore, when, like, people don't care who they are or, like, what they're doing. For a lot of those people, they go to drugs because they can't fill, like, that void inside of them from, like, the satisfaction that they get from other people, and as
that's the
much as,
thing.
like, I don't know if this will be the path that, influencers will go down, but there is this concern of, like, what happens to your brain when you're no longer getting that stimulation from social media to justify your existence?
First of all, I fully see your perspective and I know where you're going with this. The first thing is that a lot of influencers, this is where your money comes from, but you should also have other
Yeah,
streams of income. Because if you're putting
diversify.
all your eggs on the basket of social media and platforms, This will change in 10 years.
Precisely.
Technology
Wait till
changes.
virtual reality.
The reality of our
Exactly.
existence will change within 5 years, within the next year. So, kudos to you. But do you see how these big tech companies are holding your livelihood in one hand, and you thought you were making funds on funds on funds? But that's just one thing. And the next thing is that I do believe that a lot of people just gotta heal, man. They really have to. It's something that starts from childhood, but I really do see that people put fame and the celebrity status as something that you always have to have. I want to move into a cave and become a nomad
Bro,
because I'm sick of y'all.
preach.
Sick of it. But
Preach.
I
Preach.
do see where you're coming from, because there's constantly a need and this perspective of a very, they say nep, which is yeah, fake idea of how we should all be living. Oh yes, you need to have the clothes, the car, the nails, the blah 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 blah.
But to me, none of that matters. Like at the end of the day, it don't matter.
Listen, do things what you like, right? But at the end of the day, you don't face yourself. It's back to the same thing. You're seeking validation from all these people who are like praising you because of the persona you put out there, but who really are you?
Exactly. Who are you when they're not there?
Yes.
Who are you when they're not cheering you on? When they're not liking your photos? Are you still gonna take the photo? If they didn't like it, would you still take the photo again?
Yes, that's why it's only a handful of influencers that I like. And even some of the influencers that I've seen now, I've seen how they change. They really try to sell their merchandise. So I stopped following them.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's so weird because I feel like I felt like I don't know if you felt this way either also in high school, but because I considered myself like the queen of the nerds, like I felt like I was put on like this weird pedestal, like on St. Martin where everyone was like, "Oh, Harsha, you're so awesome. Like you have such a bright future. Oh my god. Like I wish my kid was like you." And it was like really annoying, to be honest. Like for me, I didn't ask to be put on this pedestal and like people were constantly praising me for things to the point where like I literally got no like, anytime I would win an award, anytime I was in high school, it meant nothing to me.
Yes, it was just like recognize.
Like, it didn't mean anything. Like, it was like they, like, overdid it so much that for me, like, it didn't
I
like,
had the
like, in the beginning,
opposite.
like, it makes you happy, like, you're
I had the
joyful. It
opposite.
got to a point where it just meant it felt nothing, and I felt so bad getting awards because I knew, like, how much more they would benefit my
Yes.
peers and
Yeah.
not me,
Yes.
you know? And so for me, like, being the self-sacrificing person that I am, I would rather other my friends get the awards over me because for me I didn't think I was gaining anything by getting them, and instead it was like feeding this reputation that people had of me that wasn't me. It was just their idea of me in this context of
I
what
think
I like to do and
what
learn.
I got was more like, because I did as well in school and things of that nature. It was more, yeah, I was expected. And I literally just had a conversation with my mother, and she said, I now understand that we should have celebrated even your achievements,
Instead of just expecting it.
regardless of what they were. Then it's saying, like, oh, Tatia, yeah, of course it would have been you, because that can also be discouraging. I always push myself
Yeah,
because that's what I wanted to do. I know where I want to go and where
same.
I wanted to be. But then when people are place this like, oh, who else would have been and stuff like that, or coming from a place of
Exactly.
enviousness, um,
Yes.
I would have preferred for people to tell me, you did a good job and congratulate me,
Yeah.
and not for an extreme boastful thing, but you know what, Tatia, you did a good job.
You did the
You
hard
did the
work.
hard work. You
Exactly.
deserve that. But not coming from a place of, oh yeah, who
Oh, of
else would
course
have
you would have
been?
won.
Or I'm like,
Exactly.
and to now at my age, understanding where I am now, and also being more happy of my achievements. You know?
Yeah, it honestly took me a while because, like, I wouldn't be happy about my achievements. Like, I would achieve them, and then I'd just be like, "Okay, on to the next goal. Like, on to the next goal. On to the
Exactly.
next goal.
I
On to the
don't
next
take
goal."
time. I never took time to say, "Wow, Tati, you actually really put your foot in that. You
Exactly.
did that
Like,
shit."
you
And also I think
exactly.
it comes from a point of where like, if you don't have peers around you who actually genuinely are happy for you that you're getting where you're going, I think that's also something, because at some point you can also feel like they say, "Oh yeah, congrats," but you know it's not coming from a genuine place. I think that's also what places you in this kind of process, like, "Oh, should I even have gotten this?" I prefer to then be, mediocre.
Like, I literally didn't even wanna be the valedictorian because I thought it was stupid. Like, I was like, "Okay, I already know I'm smart." Okay, me writing a speech, to me, it's like I felt like it was erasing the experiences of my peers who also had, like, undertaken this journey with me, and it wasn't even to say that I didn't think I deserved it. Like, obviously, I worked fucking hard to get where I am, but it was just like, yeah, I was so used to, and I struggled with this a lot through college, and I had to, like, figure it out because it wasn't good for my mental health, but, like, not celebrating my accomplishments
Hmm.
because, like you said, they were just taken as, like, "Oh, of course Harsha would do great. Of course Harsha would get the best grades. Of course Harsha would win. Of course she'd be chosen." When it's like, it's not of course, like, I had to work, I had to put
Exactly.
in effort. If I just stopped caring and I didn't do things according to, like, my,
Hmm.
in personal standard of excellence, I wouldn't have won. Like, why would I have won?
So basically, you were putting yourself in a defense mechanism. It's like
Yeah,
I don't even
exactly.
use the word humble anymore, because it means to like diminish your value and to be considered stupid, right? That's is the
Yeah,
literal
yeah.
direct meaning, and it's like you choose to humble yourself, to make yourself smaller, instead of really saying, you know what? Yes,
I am the shit.
everyone's journey. We went through this together, and great, but I actually worked my ass off and I got where I had to go because I did this, And I think people need to praise themselves for the accomplishments. I mean, it does so much for you. And the thing is that I've only come to terms that now, even though like I've done what I have to do. You've done a lot. I've watched you. I've seen what you're doing. You've done a lot.
But you see, like, as you say that, in my reality, I don't think I've done
I do.
shit.
I have the same problem, so that's why I can speak to you from this perspective. Like, yeah, like I did my uni. I came here, and then like for example, I came here, and like when I speak to other like Dutch people here, because I'm in Amsterdam. For those who don't know, wood, and they're like, "Oh, you really did a lot," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah, like
I have 20 more steps in my head to go." And for years also my mom is pounding me, saying, "Tatia, you could take a break, you can really sit down and say, hey, I did well, and take a rest." And I'm like, no, I have a lot to do. I want to see myself here. And it's great to have that type of attitude, I think, because I wouldn't have myself any other way. You know why? Because I'm a doer,
Yeah, same.
and
I
I'm
am
gonna
a
get myself
doer.
where I need to go, and no one gotta help me.
But sometimes I think, like, is it like sometimes I get sick of being a doer though, and I'm just like,
Because
can't I just be one of those people that just lays in bed all day
you
and is like,
can
this feels
you,
good? I
you
can't,
can, my
Tatia.
dear. You gotta learn to
I
balance.
can't. I can't. I feel like I can't anymore. Like maybe in high school when I had like no homework on the weekends, but now like you see what I'm doing on a Sunday. I'm talking to you.
I know,
Like
isn't it nice? It's so good to see you.
it is nice. It is
No,
nice.
but I also agree, because like I'm gonna be, yeah, traveling soon and stuff like that. Hopefully this comes out after, because Lord knows I'm traveling.
It will. It will.
But I'm just like, oh, I have this to do, I have that to do. But I really had to understand that there's a time to work and put your all in it, but then at some point you have to rest.
This is true. I had to realize I had to rest just because, like, I would get to a point where I would just feel so uninspired, so lazy, so tired, just not in the mood.
Listen, you're gonna burn yourself out.
Yes. And so that's what I've been working on now is like, how do I find that balance between pushing myself and, first of all, and even understanding what my potential is, Like, because I realized, like, even in the career field, like, I am very ambitious. And I think I'm even more ambitious than people that are, they work a regular 9 to 5. I'm the type of person that's like, I don't care what my role is. I want to get the job done and I want to do it amazingly well. Like, me working at Microsoft, like, I want us to have the best products out there, period. Like, I don't want Apple to even be in the like, in the excuse me, no, no, no. Like, I want you to pick my product, period. Like, I don't want you to have an option. Um, but like, even with that, like, it's weird. I don't even. I think it is. I used to always like ask myself, why am I so defensive about my accomplishments? Why can't I enjoy them, or like why can't I talk about them without feeling like I need to humble myself, because I'm afraid of, if I talk about what I've done or what I've achieved, it'll make people feel inadequate, or
Girl,
like they
I
haven't been doing
understand.
anything with their
That's
life.
just
And I'm not trying to make people feel bad, because I also have to recognize, like, for me to be where I am now take a lot of privilege. And not to even say that it didn't take privilege or I didn't have privilege, I was very blessed, and my parents could even afford to send me to college for, when they did. And a lot of things like worked out in my favor, but it all like it like leads to this reputation, of like, oh, Harsha's a good girl and she's super accomplished. But then I also think, like, what would have happened if I didn't work at Microsoft? Would people have still considered me accomplished? Like, I didn't know that that's where I was going to be, or even that that was even an option for me. Like, what if I had to literally get deported and go back to St. Martin because I'm not an American, and I would have to work for GB? Like, would I have been Harsha the great accomplished one then? You know what I mean? Or would it have been like, oh, she fell so
yeah,
far.
you see, this is why I think you're putting like the opinions of others on yourself.
I do this
And
a lot. This is one of the things I was telling you, like, I
I
struggle a
think to
lot with, like,
myself,
my fears around other people judging
who
me.
cares?
I know,
Who
I
cares?
know.
Because I really see it from a point of view, really like feeling like, well, if I do this, what will they think? If I do that, what will they think? And I think we as a people need to focus more on what you're doing. I remember I used to post so a lot more on social media and I stopped it.
I be wanting to delete my shit, bro,
Yeah.
every day. I'd be like,
Because it's
"Why?" But
just
then I
like,
like, the only reason I have it is to share, like, the podcast, like, I want people to go out and listen to it. That's, like,
yes,
literally the only reason I still have an Instagram.
fully, fully understand. But I just think you're putting like, let's say, right? I understand as well. Like, I went through my whatever up here and I'm still doing that. And then I'm actually going through a next transitional phase in my life where it's
Yeah.
actually very uncomfortable for me because I'm not that type of person. I planned and I had the shit that I wanted to do and this is what I want to do and I'm gonna get it done. That's not how life works, you know?
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately.
And the thing is, who is the most important person during that journey? Yourself. And as
Yeah,
soon as you start taking on the opinions of others, it becomes too stressful. I've
it
been there. It's
does.
like, oh, wait a minute, who cares?
I know, I know. I think it's so hard though, because like at least I always go back to, I'm a girl, and I grew up in Indian culture, and a lot of it is always, what will people say? What will people think? What will people do? If they find out
Everyone,
you do this,
everyone,
what are they gonna say about us? And
everyone.
like, how does this reflect on the
Oh my
family? And
god.
as much as my family, I know my parents don't really care what people think about them, because they're like, fuck them. But it is interesting. I guess, like, how do you stay so, like, authentically honest in yourself and not really afraid of what people think and
It
all
took
that?
a
Because it gets to
it
me.
took a lot of work because I actually really was insecure because I'm actually really soft at heart. So
Same. Like, I love people. Like,
I
I wanna
don't
be friends. I'm trying to be all kumbaya,
I'm
you
not trying to
know?
kumbaya because any day I'll choose violence. But I'll wake up early in the morning and choose violence. But it's really like if you're coming from a place of just trying to be who you are and then people hate that. I've read this book and I'll try to find the author's name, but it's called A Time to Be Alone. And one thing
Mm,
that was really resonated with me from that book is like the relationship you have with people, if they treat you badly, is usually the reflection of how they interact with themselves. And it just comes from point of saying, um, I treat you badly because I treat myself badly. So why would I want you to treat me badly? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why should I care about what you think? Because maybe you think less of yourself. So you're out here trying to think less of me. And then it's like, well, I need to have a better relationship with myself. I can't love someone if I don't love myself. I can't care for someone if I don't care for myself fully.
that's a good
So
point. That is a
It
good
took
point.
a while, and it's also sometimes you like, you go backwards, you feel insecure about myself. Everyone has insecurities. It's just a lot of work of really saying, you know what? These are the strengths that I genuinely like about myself. I like I and breathe so much life into yourself constantly. Just push so much encouragement and love into yourself. I remember I was dating myself. Who would take me out on dates? I take myself to the
It's
park.
like, ooh,
Ooh,
look at this fine, sexy piece of glass of wine. I don't
exactly.
even know
This
what people
fine piece
say,
of
but yeah.
ass. I'll be like, who use one fine piece of ass? Whoop, whoop. you know?
Yeah,
You
like I got the best date in town,
exactly.
mofo.
You
You
know? But
wish.
you really have to breathe a lot of life into yourself and really, I would write lists like, what do I like about myself? Like, what do I genuinely like about myself? And I would say to myself over and over and over. And you really start to realize, like, also, it doesn't matter with people. People are setting you up for disappointment. We are disappointing as creatures. Like, we're disappointing.
All we do is disappoint each
Exactly,
other.
just disappointing. And I rather have high expectations of myself, which I do have, and no
This is true.
expectations of
Yeah.
anyone else.
Yeah. Ooh, that's actually a good point. Not just not to have no expectation from anybody
None.
else is so hard.
It's
Yeah,
hard because you think like, you know what, I would do that so someone else would do that. No, you can't expect yourself out of someone else. And
this is
literally, when you
true.
start to move like that, I think where you're like, you know what, I expect myself to do well. I expect myself to be a genuine person. I expect myself to be authentic and honest because that's what I want. And if that person doesn't like it, because you're not honest with yourself, that's your business. That's not my problem. And that, I think, is just setting healthy boundaries. A lot of us don't know how to set healthy boundaries. You don't know how to set healthy boundaries with
They
your
didn't.
time. That's why you're running yourself thin.
But the
I
thing
see
is, it's
you.
not even
I see you.
okay. It's like me, just my ego is just like, oh shit, she's calling us, she's summoning, she's finding out the holes. Yeah, that's
No, people don't
the thing
know.
is like I feel like somewhere in like high school, like when I started to do a bunch of stuff like teen times and debate and like journalism and just like me, I was writing books in my free time, just being the psycho that I am. But it's like but for me, it's like when I do stuff like this, like having a podcast with you, this is fun for me. Like I can't just like sit on the couch and watch Netflix. Like I'm trying to rewatch Phineas and Ferb, and I can only pay attention for so
I
long,
don't watch TV
before like
actually. So I
my brain
understand.
just
Like, I fully understand what you're saying. I love that you're doing things that you love. You know?
me
I
too. It makes me feel
I am
good.
very
Like
proud
it
of
just makes
you.
me feel like just like
You
just
know?
like yes, like fuck it, like I'm doing yoga. That's been fabulous for my body. Like just cuz I'm so tight and like but it feels so good. I did a sound bath yesterday, very trippy. I swear dude was going to rupture my eardrums, but it was really nice, and it takes a while though because I had to like literally take the space, Tatia, and ask myself, Harsha, what are things you like? Harsha,
That's
how
the
do you like to
thing.
be celebrated? Harsha, how do you because look, even my birthdays, I don't really celebrate, which is like terrible.
Oh my
Absolutely
god,
terrible. It's one of the things
same.
that I'm working on because it's like when anybody ever asks me, Harsha, what do you want to do for your birthday?
No, no, no.
I don't know. Like and then it's like I don't want to be a burden for other people. I don't want to like ask people for shit. So and then I mean I'm in America, so I feel like I don't really have friends in this country, but like it's just like figuring out like how do I like to be appreciated? Because like I mean, I love my parents, God bless their soul, but like every time I got good grades, they were just like, "Good job." And just, it went in the binder and it was just in the binder with all my other achievements. Like whereas my cousin, like he had his stuff all put up on the wall, which is cool and like I hang up my diploma now, but I don't know what it really does for me, but it's just trying to figure
You
out
want to
like
figure out your
how do
love
I like to
language
be
and how you
enjoyed?
like to be appreciated.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
But it's a journey. It's a journey for me to understand what are acts of kindness that I really like and things that I've been craving that I've never had. And for me, it's also like a trade off because I'm also trying to get like financially free so that I don't have to work a regular job and I can really be like free to build and create and just be a human. That I don't want to spend a ton of money.
First of all, I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself. Everything's coming in time. The thing is why I can tell you this because I do the same shit. So just so you know, I do the same thing, and I'm gonna speak to you from a place of just love and genuine
I know, that's
wanting,
why I love
like
you, man.
wanting
That's why I
concern for
love
you. It's
talking to
just
you.
let me tell you something. For instance, I'm doing like
Tell
a double
me.
masters right now, right?
I know, you are a go I wanted to ask you about law school because I know that shit ain't
Well, the thing
easy.
is, I went to like Wales is the highest level of education in the Netherlands. So after my pre-university, so
Damn.
after A level and stuff like that, I went to Wales. I did my bachelor 3 years. That's how much it was. I did 3 years. Then I came to my masters, the
Mhm.
double masters. I followed both of them at the same time. I started them. Don't do it.
Wait, what are your masters? What is the degrees, though?
I did international business law and then international labor law, and it's like labor law and
Oh,
HRM, right?
interesting.
And I came
Yeah.
to this point, and then I'm just like, I'm studying also to write academically in Dutch. On the side, I write academic papers for environmental law.
You a
We
goat
do
because
conferences, we write little
that's all I
articles.
see.
Then I had a little side job, just
That's
hustling.
awesome.
And so that's a bit of what I do, of whatever. But, and then I'm also want to start my own business.
Yeah, you a baddie. I love
Wait,
you. That's why I
wait
love you,
up
man.
and see
You a
what that
baddie.
looks like. Um,
And she working out and trying to be a thick girl too,
oh
okay?
my god, oh, I got, that's the thing.
Trying to break
I
hearts.
already do. But
You tell them. It's like, yeah, the trail has already started and they're back there.
they're there, they're like, oh, I want to marry you. Pick a number, pull a number, you can wait in line.
Bro.
But that's the thing. Gym for me is my outlet. I also kickbox for
Mm,
a period of time. That's my outlet. I love,
kickboxing is
yes,
fun.
that's what I love to do. It really just gives me that it that's what relaxes me. And then my business will be what for my creativity. Then I'm gonna use my law degree on ways of which I wanna help my island or help people. So we'll see how that goes. But for instance, I also like to work with children. So hey, I might say, you know what? Throw away the law degree. I'll do something else. Who knows what will happen?
This is
But
true.
it's the journey. And I think what we fail to understand, and which is why I really talk to a lot of elders, older people, is because when you listen to how much they've done and where they are now, and they say, this is what I get enjoyment out of. For instance, my Dutch teacher, really great guy, helped me a lot from what I
Mm.
was doing. He used to write songs, over 300 songs in lessons for children.
Aw,
Yeah, he was in a rock band.
that's lit.
Then he was
I
he
totally
actually
band
studied to be a
life.
graphic designer.
That's awesome. See, I love people that just love to learn.
Exactly, lifetime
Period.
learning. Because you know what? I actually have a lot of interests.
Same.
And maybe you know what? I find something that I really like. And he's also a publisher. So he gives, I think that's the right thing. Yes. He gives like these books that were forgotten. He translates them in
Mm,
English. I'm Dutch. And then he
interesting.
publishes them. And these are books like he really
Awesome.
like says like no one really likes to read or whatever. And then he's a Dutch teacher. And he says honestly,
Awesome.
that's what he likes to do. He likes to be a Dutch teacher. And I'm like, out of all the things you've done, he was in this well known band. Was a graphic designer, did printing for shirts, and this is what you like to do. So I think with financial freedom, by all means, because that is something that I'm so happy our people have come to terms with, like wanting to be financially free, just
Yes.
paying off debt and actually living free, no strings
Free.
attached.
Free. Nobody can call me. Uncle Sam could stay his ass home and I can go and buy my little island and live my commune life with
Exactly.
my animals, agriculture, and what have you,
Exactly.
you know?
You know,
Precisely.
but allow that to come organically. One thing, one my spiritual leader has taught me, my advisor,
Yeah.
wanting nothing brings everything.
Ooh.
It's such a deep thing that I too sat down on months and months and months and months and months to really
Just thinking about
understand.
it, yeah.
And really, when you sit down and you don't, I don't want that next car. No, I'm good and I'm content where I am now. I'll flow into it. You'll get it
That's actually beautiful.
immediately.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. Like, wow. I think it's interesting you say wanting nothing brings everything. I think it's like this misbelief that people feel like they need to go outside of themselves to get stuff when it's like we seem to forget all the power is within us. You know, like all the power to manifest the life that you want is
It's within
literally
you.
between your eyebrows. Like it's right between your eyebrows. You just have to spend some time doing the work inside of yourself. And that's the thing is like people first of all don't want to do the work period. Like people
Oh,
just want to cruise through life and have it be easy, which is why people do a ton of drugs and just
I.
overdose cuz it's so much easier to just live in this euphoric state even if it's eating you from the inside out
Oh my
than it is
gosh.
to sit with yourself and be in that
Yes,
uncomfortable space to understand like
exactly. I feel like
why you exist.
people first.
Cuz it is uncomfortable. It is super
It's
uncomfortable to sit
crazy.
there.
You see how I see people are like, yeah, I'm healing. I'm this. How are you healing for 5 years?
Bro, that's what
How are
I
you
be
healing for five
wondering.
years? Do some work. Pick up a
Or
journal.
they're like, "I'm enlightened now,"
Where?
or I'm spiritual. I
Where?
heal I'm breaking generational
Where?
curses, and I'm just like
Where? You know what? That is
and
none of
if
my
you're
business.
breaking these curses, why are you sharing it on the gram for validation so other
Exactly.
motherfuckers know that you breaking the curse? Just break the curse. You should be happy that you broke the curse.
Exactly. Exactly.
Why like
I called
why
someone out on
yeah.
something. They were just like, yeah, they posted why am I I said you just want validation. Why am I it's so hard when you do things for somebody and you don't get the same energy in return. And they post this because they have like a platform, they're from St. Martin, they
Clearly.
have a
They
platform.
wanna share their 2 cents.
Exactly. And then everyone's reposted it. And I said, you guys are so lost. You want validation from people so bad. And then when I call you out on it, you're like, yeah, I'm working from a place of ego. Listen, what I don't like, don't do things for clout. Actually put in the work or shut up. That's why a lot of them, they're like, did you listen? No. Oh, I did not
Yeah.
listen to your podcast. No, I did not listen. I don't listen to your
And to
music.
me, it doesn't matter. It's like if they listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. Like
Exactly.
you shouldn't take that personal.
Exactly.
Like that doesn't mean your work isn't good. That just means that the right people haven't found it yet, and that's
And the
okay.
thing is,
That doesn't
when
mean
you
you should
genuinely
stop.
like what you're doing and you're pushing what you're doing, you don't care. You're gonna still do it because you enjoy it. And that's coming from a place of I'm happy with myself and I'm happy that I'm doing this. Not that oh I'm doing this and I'm keeping my eye open. Did enough people see it? Did enough people? Okay, if you're running a business, of course you want enough people to see it, but
You're just trying to
because
sell,
you need some money.
capitalism. You gotta feed the engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's really like, what are you really looking for?
Yeah.
And nah, man, like on a real,
But it's so fucked up because I feel like a lot of people like that they like want to be influenced or they just want, they want this clout, they want this validation, they want the popularity. They think like their ideal version of themselves is surrounded by certain people that they really like. And then for me it's just like I feel bad because they're like feeding this delusion and I'm seeing it
I
happen
don't feel
and
bad.
there's nothing I can
I don't
do.
feel
There's
bad.
literally I just have to watch it and just be like, "Ooh, this is not
Listen,
going to end
I don't
well.
feel
I already
bad because
know."
you know what you're supposed to do, and if you're gonna be at your own detriment, that was your choice.
You be trying to help people
Everything is
out
your
and they don't even
choice.
wanna help
I
themselves.
save
Yeah,
my breath
it
a
is.
lot. So when people are like, "Oh," when the person said, like, for instance, the same person, they were like, "Yeah, I'm doing it." I said, "Oh, okay, that's good. Have a nice day." I'm not even gonna go further. You already know you're doing something that's quite interestingly shady. You know you're doing something that's not in line with your higher self and your higher purpose, and you still do it. At this point,
Ooh, that's actually ooh, you just made me think of
it's your
something.
own choice to suffer. I don't know why people lie to suffer. Sometimes you can learn by flowing. I You can literally learn. Humans choose to learn through suffrage.
Yes, man. It is so true. Like, we would rather ourselves be on the brink of existential extinction before we decide, you know what, maybe, maybe we shouldn't do this. Yeah, exactly. Maybe we shouldn't kill our planet. The only thing we've got working for us, the
I
only
mean,
place we really know
think about
exists.
it. Why, when everyone goes through this extreme transition in their life, they went to jail, someone had to die, they got extremely sick. It has to be something that's so detrimental to their existence. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Why do we always have to learn through suffrage? Because we work through ego, man. We're so like, yeah, I know it all. I know what I'm doing. Da da da. Sometimes just shut up and listen.
Yeah.
And guess what? If someone warns you about something, don't take it as, yeah, I know better. I know, bruh. Just listen.
I saw this thing on Instagram, ironically. I low key be liking these reels, but there was this one that was like every day you have a choice. You can evolve or you can repeat. And I was like, shit.
Exactly.
That is so accurate. And it's interesting because sometimes you have to like see things for it to click in your brain. And it was like anytime you feel like you're repeating a cycle of behavior you don't like, it's a lesson that you haven't learned yet. That's why you didn't
Exactly.
evolve. You haven't evolved
It's
past it.
just basically
And
what they call, think about when you think about reincarnate, yeah,
yeah, reincarnation.
oh,
Yeah, I feel
what
you.
the fuck was that? It's like when people say aluminum, they're
Words.
like aluminum.
Hakuna Matata.
They're like aluminum, aluminum, alubla. Yeah, sorry,
I feel
reincarnation.
you.
It's basically like you have to continuously be placed in the same cycle of nonsense because you didn't learn the first time. And people need to
Yes,
understand, like, the
precisely.
same, if you put in it, think of it as a computer. You put in the same input, you'll get the same output. You put in shit, you'll get shit. You put in shit, you get shit. You put in the wrong answer, you won't get, you get a wrong answer.
And the thing is the universe is just working for you. Like it's working to teach you these lessons. Like it ain't trying to teach nobody else. It's trying to
And
teach it
you
to
are at your
you
best.
specifically.
And the thing is like life is a spiral. This is one thing I thought was so interesting. We're like a spiral going upstairs. And sometimes you repeat the same cycle, but you're above. So now you have elevated, and the same thing can occur. Now you
Mm,
can either react in the same way that you did two steps below, or you can act in a way that gets you above the cycle. And that's what happens with some people like come into your life, right? You're going up the cycle and they're below, basically asking you to come down here and be the same way that you were, but you're above. And you have the choice to say, you know what, I'm gonna walk down these steps and nah, I'm up here, brother.
that's not my
I'm
job.
going
Yeah.
high.
Like you gotta catch up to me and we can continue walking up together, or you finna have to
Yeah, or you gotta,
stay
well,
down
you're
there.
down there, so you could stay down there.
Yeah.
So it's just constant cycle of trying to go up the stairs and evolve and be better and do this and do that. And it's like you're going up the steps, you're gonna reach a point where you are just like, wow, look how things
I
have
think
changed.
one of the cycles I need to stop repeating and evolve past is this caring what people think struggle that I've got. It's got a hold on me, Tatia. It's like it's got its hold on me, and
But
I'm just like every day, like free myself, free, free, and that's why I kind of do the podcast is because it pushes me to have to think, like share what I really think, and to like I'm just being honest, like this is what I think, on the regular, and so as much as, like especially I think, like, in the world today, I have, like like, with cancel culture and, like, all of these, like, mob mentality bull crap, it's like, how do you stay true to you and not get, distracted by
yeah,
all the
it can
noise
be
that's around
it can be
you, you know?
difficult. It can actually be difficult, and I understand, especially for young people who are stepping foot into the world. Also,
Yeah, like, we've only been in this world for 2 decades. It
exactly.
ain't been that long.
Exactly, and I think it's especially for our generation where we now have an entirely different like movement that's coming. There's so much expectation of you
Entirely.
to be.
I'm excited for it, bro. I'm excited for the like awakening. I'm just
A
like,
lot of us
I'm
are
ready.
awakened, are in getting to our enlightenment, going back to our
Bro, I was
roots.
talking to Emily about this. I was like, we all star seeds, but I'm like, why were we all born on St. Martin? Like, is this a coincidence?
Nah, I would never choose any other place to be born. I really don't. I mean, I could, but there's so many things that have shaped me from being there that made me who I am today, and that and I
Precisely.
I couldn't ask for anything else. But I do understand that there's a lot of pressure of individuals to be who they wanna to be. This whole perfect package. When I think when it comes to someone being raw and authentic, you can draw people. And you'll draw people, and it's better to draw people being your authentic self because that's sustainable.
Yeah, because it's like, this is you.
You can be yourself 24/7 all day, every day, but being someone that's fake or not be your authentic self, you can only sustain that for so long.
It eats you out, like
You
from the
can only
inside. It
sustain
really
that so
does.
long or until someone outs you or something else. Because some of these people be getting outed, and that's funny. You know? I really feel like, yeah, I understand the pressure, and it's hard to say, you know what, this is who I am. But I must say, when you find who you are and you're just like, I'm at peace with that person, this is who I am, I'm at peace with it, there's no other happiness. When I tell you
Yeah.
there's no other happiness, and that's when you're just like, but why the
Fuck
hell was
it.
I ever anywhere else?
I know.
Why was I anywhere else? Like, what, you know? And for you, just speak, just speak. That's okay, yeah. People will really be like, Tati, do you really don't care what other people think?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe you don't
No,
care. I 100% believe you do not give a fuck. Like, period. Like, someone could say, like, Tati, your ass fat, and you would just be like,
I,
thank you.
yeah, I'm
Like,
like,
you
thank
would
you.
just be like, I know.
Like,
I've
I
been
know.
working to grow this booty too.
Or someone would be like, oh, you're beautiful. Yeah, I know. Yo, you ever see that with guys? Like, they're like, oh, you're so beautiful. And when you tell them I know, they're like,
Thank
oh,
you.
oh,
You
really?
cocky.
Cocky? Yeah,
You cocky
damn.
woman.
Yeah,
You
damn.
must know your
Right.
worth,
You gotta
huh? So
know
I
your
can't
worth.
manipulate you.
You
Yeah,
gotta
bro.
know your worth. Because, and I can't really speak it in other ways than journaling. I have, like, at this point, I finished 3 journals. I'm on the fourth because I literally journal as
All the time.
all the time. And
That's
I,
good. I wish I did it as much as I
the development
tell
of it was
myself
really
to.
like I would have actually a lot of negative thoughts about myself, and I'll share that. So I would think like, oh, I'm not, I'm this, I'm ugly, I need to lose weight, I'm that. And it's really the thoughts that you have in your head about yourself. And what I would do is write the positive
The
things
opposite?
against those.
Oh,
So it's just like, oh, Tatia, like, oh, I need to lose weight. Tati, if you don't like yourself, you can change, but you're beautiful regardless. And then I lost weight, and it's like, I love myself through that process.
yeah.
Oh, Tati, you need to do this, you need to do that. You're not doing enough in school. Tatia, look how far you have come, and you're gonna get
You
there as well.
graduated many a
You
grades,
you
you
did a
know?
lot of stuff. Look how far you have come. So it's really just the negative person. It's like it's your anti self speaking. It's that person that's really there with you who you can't never leave. They're never
Yeah.
gonna go, but you can diminish them and really just put your best self forward and be like, you know what? Oh yeah, you know what? You haven't had enough accomplishment. Well, really, is that true? And if you think about
Maybe according
how
to
much
your
anxiety,
definition, you know?
exactly,
Like,
how
exactly.
much anxiety you have about being perfect and things like that, it's really coming from a place that's not logical.
Yeah. I think that's honestly where my fear of judgment comes from is like removing the facade that other people have of me in their head. Like I feel bad like I'm like, "Oh, like you have this cute little girl in your head and I don't want to ruin that for you. So I'm just going to keep this part of me away from you so you don't have to ruin your image of me in your head." But then I think like who does that really hurt, right? And that hurts me
Is it
because
that,
now I have to cater
or would it
to
just be
you.
more about yourself? I really don't want to ruin your image of me because I'm afraid that if you really know me, you wouldn't like me as much.
Ooh, you're right. I think that's what it is. But yeah,
Because if you really
you're
think
right.
about it, it's never
You're
about.
calling me out.
It's
You're right.
really not about anybody else. It's all about you. It's
Yeah.
all about you. The things that you put on other people is really more about you. I don't want to.
It's like, I'm afraid you won't like
I
me. Yeah,
can.
if you knew. Yeah, I agree.
If you
I
know,
do
like for
agree.
example, that oh, I like golfing. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm a cat mom, or this. You wouldn't, like me as much. But the thing is also why would you want someone to be around who doesn't like you? Why are you holding on to people who genuinely don't like you?
I feel you. That's a
Like
very that's a valid
it's
point.
better to be.
I and you're right, because like I just be thinking like, why are you holding on to these motherfuckers? And then my ego is like,
And I think, yeah, you're like, that's the thing. The insecurity comes from just having validation from other people, and then, you prefer like, oh, I prefer being liked and having all these friends. When in genuality, you need to find your tribe. You need to
yeah,
find
I'm trying
people,
to find my tribe.
and it
I'm
takes
trying to
time.
find them.
And I could genuinely say I have my family, and I have maybe a handful of friends, genuinely friends who actually know me and
Not
know.
millions of fake followers.
Nope, I don't care to have it because that's what I wanted. I decided, you know what, I have to have genuine relationships and relationships with boundaries. And in the last few months, I've cut off a lot of people because I'm on this journey and I'm moving. And that's the thing, the movement to the words that is you do it alone a lot of times or with a
Yeah.
few people.
Yeah, I've got to realize I have to be comfortable being by myself, because like, I especially like, on the island where you grow up and you know everybody and everybody knows you and everybody knows your family and
Hmm.
everybody knows your
Oh,
history.
gosh.
When I came to the States, like, nobody knew me and nobody was fucking with me. Like, I don't know what it was, like, I really felt like I just people didn't understand me, like, even if it was other Black Americans, like, I just didn't think like their version of reality didn't sync up with my
Nope.
version of reality, because for me, I don't want to walk around my life having this weight of like this ancestral burden, of this anger. Like, I don't want to walk around with that. I
And
don't
you don't
care. I don't want to
deserve
walk
it.
around with it. Exactly. Like, why would my ancestors still want me to be holding the pain and the suffering that what they've been through? I would hope that they would want me to feel free, which is what I feel right now. I feel like I don't walk around being afraid of racists. Like, fuck them. Okay, fuck you, fuck them. Like, I don't care. But it's interesting because, like, I felt like when I came to the States, like, I had lost my tribe. Because for me, like, all the people that I held close to me, that I would consider a part of my tribe, that I felt like really understood how I looked at the world, are all like you guys, like, that are from the island, that left and are doing your own things, which I love. I want you guys to go out and be fucking awesome and do whatever it is. But it's like I felt like I lost my tribe, because I came here and
There's two things
it was like, one, people were trying to make me fit into this box of what, like, a Black woman should
all the
look
time.
like and how
Oh
she
my
should
gosh.
think, and it's like, that's not me. Like, I'm not a typical Black girl. Like, I don't know what you expect, and I don't know why anyone would ever be a typical Black, like, what the fuck is a typical Black girl in the first place? Like, it's like all of these weird stereotypes that are
Listen,
out there, that when people see you, they expect you to fit into these boxes, and it's like, "No, I am me. I am uniquely Harsha Parchani, who goes by Nicole and he confuses the shit out of everybody. Like, this is
that's
me."
the thing. And I feel like a lot of people just don't know themselves and don't know their worth and don't know what they like and don't. And your 20s is to do that. Your 20s is to go out, see what you like. Oh, I like this. I like chocolate. I like vanilla. I like butterflies and rainbows and unicorns. Fuck it, whatever. But I really feel like people, they want to fit in so bad instead of realizing like I just don't really know how else to put it. I'd rather be alone in a corner with a goldfish and a dog than have people around trying to question if they really care about me or love me for who I am. And I think that's the reason why I'm more like what I am. Because
Do you think, like
I prefer
No,
genuine
go ahead.
connection.
Yeah, I feel that. I was gonna ask, like, do you think the reason why people are afraid to be alone is because of, like, this sort of fear that we have around dying alone and just, like, being alone when you're, like, your most vulnerable and, like
I think people are
yeah.
afraid to be alone because they don't want to deal with themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Like they don't want
Yeah.
to deal with the insecurities. Like because when you're alone, the thoughts in your head are become very loud. The thoughts in your head and become very loud because you have no one else to deal with but yourself.
So you can't like distract
You can't
yourself through somebody
exactly. A
else.
lot of things are just let me distract myself. A lot of drug abuse is just let me distract myself. A lot of things are escapism. They
Mm.
use it as an
Yeah,
escape.
I escape boredom a lot.
Mhm.
I get bored. I think, but it's interesting because it's like where does boredom come from? Even for me, I think about that, like what makes me bored and why would I want to escape being bored, you know? And if it's like my addiction to productivity and getting my sense of worth out of being productive
Exactly.
versus like not.
You get your sense of out of like if I don't have material accomplishments or accomplishments,
Who am I?
who am
Yeah.
I? Oh, you're harsher.
It's like you're still you,
You're
bro.
still
You're
you.
still you.
You know, you're still
Yeah,
you. You're still beautiful. You're still whole.
exactly.
You're still whole. And I think like a lot of people just don't want to deal with themselves and they don't want to, because if they have to really face the little monsters that they are, and
It's scary.
then they're like, yeah,
Oh
that's just
shit!
it. They just use other people
No.
as like
Yeah.
distractions. And yeah, that's what I just think it is. Like, I don't really have any other idea because a lot of things is really just about you. A lot of things that people have problems with is really just problems they have with themselves. It's really coming from a root of themselves, my self worth, my self understanding. And I think, yeah, if you look at us being social and stuff like that, especially in the Caribbean, it was always like coming out St. Martin, oh, what would people think? You know, oh, you're wearing that. Oh, what would people think? People are gonna talk about me. Oh, you did. Yeah. Oh, you had someone had a kid young. Oh, everyone's talking like badly about her or him. Oh, they didn't do this. Oh, they didn't go to uni. They didn't do that. Damn if you
And I'm like, who
do.
cares?
Damn if you
Yeah.
do. Damn if you don't. If you have to live through this perspective of people constantly, you will never be happy because it's never good enough.
That's the thing too. Like I feel sometimes bad for even famous people because they have to live in the bubble of other people's expectations of
Yep.
them.
Yep. And I,
And it never aligns. Like Kanye said this perfectly. Like he's all yeah, you're too rich, you're too this, you're too loud, you're too you know, and it's like you're too black, you're too manly, you're too, not giving a
exactly.
fuck about your family out there dating models. Like he's like you're too anything and it's like he's like there's a lot of judgment. That's why I love his latest album because he be talking spitting the truth,
I'm
like
not even
talking about
gonna
how
lie.
people
I
just
didn't listen to it
judging.
because I really think he's off the brick. Like,
He is off the brick, but I love folks off the brick cuz at least what you get is who they are.
I really thought to myself, "Wow, Kanye, you really out here? You got me questioning a lot of stuff." But I'm like, you know what? Do your thing. If you're
I fuck with the
authentically happy,
music.
that's your business. If you're not, that's also
Yeah.
your
I don't
business.
think he is. I mean, but who am I to judge? I don't know the
Yeah,
man.
exactly. But
I don't know the
that's a
man.
nice thing. Okay,
Exactly.
are you happy?
Me? Am I
I think
happy?
that's a deep question that people are like. When you ask someone, "Are you happy or are you good?" They're like, uh, uh, uh,
They feel like they have to say yes, right? Because if you say like, "Oh, you're sad," then like oh shit, then you admit that there's something wrong, right? It's interesting. I think I am happy, but I don't think I'm always happy. I think there's things that I do that make me happy. Like talking to you right now, I would say right now I am very happy. Like talking to you makes me feel very happy. But like if I'm doing something that I feel like isn't helping me get to the goals that I want, or I feel like people are setting limiting beliefs on me, then that makes me very unhappy. It makes me very
oh my
uncomfortable. It makes me
god.
very like I struggle in those spaces because I there's a part of me that's like the people pleaser that wants to have people be like, just be a good girl, just do what they say, like don't complain. But then there's like that part of me, that deep rooted like drive to be my best self, to be my highest self. That's like, fuck that, bro. No, like why are you letting other people's limiting beliefs of themselves limit you?
Listen,
You are not them. And so,
one thing to hold on to, right?
yeah,
When people are here putting their nonsense on you, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Look at their life. Isn't it in
bro.
shambles?
But it's not even to say like it's in shambles. It's like just look at their life. Is this the life you want for
Mm-mm.
yourself? And it's like no. It
Because
isn't.
that's
It's
not
not.
even a life they want for themselves. So it's in shambles. You have to read past the smoke screens, because a lot of people literally they're just not happy with their life, and they're just like, let's all sit together and kumbaya with this pity party and unhappiness. I was like, no, girl.
But it's like I think it's like, and it doesn't matter like what socioeconomic bracket you're in. Like there are people that are hella rich and they are still not happy with themselves. You know what I mean? They have all the money in the world and they still come home to an empty ass, big ass mansion. What was the point of
Or
having the
around
big ass
people they don't
mansion if you're
even
there
like.
alone?
That's the
Ooh,
craziest
yeah.
thing. They're sharing like these lies for status, and I need to be with this person for status, and it's a sad existence. It's really sad to see what people will go through just to have this persona. It's a circle
And then
of
it gets to a
madness.
point that I'm like, when, and for me, it's like what gets sad is it reaches a point where you have to start to convince yourself and you have to start to delude yourself because it's the only way you're going to convince yourself that you're happy.
Yep,
And then
that's
it's like
crazy.
when someone asks you, how are you doing? Then they're like, oh, I'm great. I'm fantastic. Life is awesome. And it's like, is it really though?
Listen, I
Is
would
it really?
always
Let's be real.
say,
We're in a pandemic. People have lost their jobs. It's okay to not be happy right now. Like
listen,
it's okay to acknowledge that there's another feeling you can get other than happiness.
some that's the thing. I think like people always expect like, oh, I need to be happy because that's the emotion that is accepted. But honestly, like, put yourself in rooms and the spaces where you can, I feel sad. I'm angry. And I'm angry because of this. I'm angry because of what's going on. My life right now is really going downhill and I don't know why, and I'm really disappointed with that.
Yeah. And I feel like
Everyone's
at least if you could say that, then you can get support. You can get like
exactly.
people to be like, okay,
And
so what is it about your life? What is it about the state
yeah,
of the world that's bothering you? How can we talk through this so that
exactly.
you can get some clarity on what you're struggling with?
And you can actually
Yeah.
really see like who really got your like who really is there for you, who's not gonna be there just for the highs. I
Yeah.
prefer someone say, you know what, I'm not feeling it today. It's not good, and I'm like, okay, it's not something I have to take on.
Yeah, it's
It's
just like,
not
okay,
that I
I
gotta take on.
understand.
It's like I really feel sad today, and this or that. And I think if we could just lend that space for other people, because so many people are going through so many things, and all we're thinking about is like, oh, they should be good. They have to be fine. Like, oh, I have my own shit. It's like, listen, you don't have to take on anyone's stuff, but sometimes you just gotta say, listen, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling it today. And I don't feel it today because it could just be, oh, I woke up and I was just not, I'm not there. It's really
Mhm.
not well for me. Give people a space to do that. I think it's crazy. You have no idea what people are going through, individuals are going through. And this whole thing about like, you have to be happy, you have to be good all the time, it's unrealistic.
And it's a, yeah, it's an unsustainable pressure to put on people too.
I'm here eating something and it's like good. So I'm
I
just
feel
like,
you. Is it palm? It looked delicious. What you eating there?
it's it's potato with salt flakes, salted beef.
Mm.
Um,
I be missing your Surinamese food, bro. Like, I remember the one time when we were in the Netherlands and you just had this delicious ass plate of chicken and bami, bro. You know, the last time I had Surinamese food was St. Martin. I swear, it might have actually been, yeah, St. Martin. Like, I haven't had Surinamese food in
I
like
have it
5 years,
all the
bro.
time
It's
because my
crushing. Why are you rubbing it in?
I
Why?
have it
Why would you
all the
say that?
time.
You could have just lied and
My
told me, Harsha, I haven't had it too. You had to rub it in,
why I
didn't
gotta
you?
lie for? Why I gotta lie to
Because
you?
I want to live in a delusional world where you're suffering with me, okay?
Listen, my dear, I'm not suffering with you. You can come here and get any food you like.
You're like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna eat my Surinamese food. Yeah, I just bought some like ingredients so I can whip up my own bami at home. Cause yeah, they
Exactly.
don't have Surinamese in America. They don't know what it's about, and I'm like, you are missing out, bro.
Listen,
Surinamese food is the best. It's so good,
it's legit
so
the best.
good.
I miss eating all the things that my mom made. It's like when you're away, you really like regret not enjoying them like before you go. Like
I
if I could just
know,
eat, I know it's not good, but if I could eat a satay and potato,
bro. You're preaching to the choir. I'm just like, can somebody
or
FedEx
just
me
or
some
just some
food,
rice and
please,
peas and some stewed chicken or something.
bro? Just something simple. It's not like you even asking for much. It's just home
Something that your
comfort
mother would cook.
food.
Somebody's auntie or mom,
Exactly.
please just send me the plate. And the thing is when you cook it, because you place so much labor
It's
into
not the
it, it's not the
same.
same.
Yeah.
Someone
It's
else has
not
to
the
do it for you.
same. Yeah, exactly. It's not
Someone
the
else
same.
has to do
Like
it for you.
I be
Question.
crying. And then I'm just like, this is America. Are y'all supposed to have all this diversity? Where the
Like,
Surinamese at?
y'all eating
Tell me.
soul food. Okay, I have a question. So I posted
Yeah.
this thing once, right?
Yeah.
Um, tell me something that you always wanted to tell me, but you never did.
Hmm. I feel like I don't really have secrets from you though. Like I don't feel like I ever like if there was anything I feel like I ever needed to tell you, I feel like I could just tell you. Like I guess one thing that I've never told you, but I do think about is like how awesome. Like I mean, and this is like a positive thing, but it's like I honestly admire you. Like I admire you a lot. Like I admire how strong you are. Like you're actually a role model for me as like as another strong black woman. Like, just knowing that you are still you and you are empowered to be yourself and be authentically you makes me feel empowered to be authentically me.
I will also say this, like, I admire the fact that you have gone so far and you really push yourself and you've gotten to where you are at this point in your life at this age. So that's something I would like to say to you, and maybe something I
Aw,
don't say often, but that's
appreciate
just
it.
me breathing some life into you.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it because I actually like I sometimes I feel shitty because there's so many people that I admire and that I like genuinely admire, and it's like I don't get to see you all the time, so it's like I don't get to say it all the time, but it's like yeah, like, there are very few people that I feel like I meet in my life that I genuinely am like, "This person interests me." Like, honestly, to God, most people irritate the shit out of me, and I just don't wanna be bothered, and I don't wanna even be around them or talk to that's why I wanna live on my own island with, my mans and my children and my chickens, I'm cool. I don't need people. But you are definitely someone that, like, I have always respected, I have always looked up to, I have always admired, like, as much as, like, if people even say, "Oh, Tati's a bitch," I'm like, probably because you just don't know how to deal, but, like,
You know,
to me, I'm like, "She's fucking awesome." Like, I love her. Like, I
that's a
anytime
funny
anyone
thing.
talks about you, I'm like, "Yeah, I love her." Like, she's awesome. Like, she is gonna tell it to you how it is, and to me, there's not enough people that tell it to you like it is, that's why I for me, I hold you like, I would consider you part of my tribe, like and I don't even have a large tribe. I feel like my tribe is very, very few people, like, I
Yes,
barely have, what, 400 followers? Like, my tribe is more like 10 people, of people that genuinely I feel like no matter, like, it's been, like, a few years since we've seen each other, and it doesn't feel like any time has passed, like, I could just call you up on the phone and be like, "Yeah, Tatia, let's just have a conversation." And it's not I don't feel like I need to be anybody else. I don't feel like I need to pretend with you. Like I feel like I could tell you exactly how I felt, even if it was a bad day, and you would still have space for me. And I feel like there's not many places where I feel like that, so
I would like
I
to
appreciate
thank you
it.
for, like, you know, allowing me to be that person, because it takes also a lot of, I think, power from that person to be vulnerable with somebody else. I'm not vulnerable with everyone. Everyone, like, I kind of like, yeah, you're real and stuff like that. But a lot of these people only see one side of you and one layer of you.
Yeah.
And people are like onions, they're like cakes. We have so many layers. There's so many things, that a person likes, dislikes, and like forms their whole entire being. So I thank you for allowing me to see that side of you and for sharing that with me. And I feel like that's also what people who are on the receiving end need to say. I thank you, because maybe it takes a lot for you to actually be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So thank you for first of all, thank you for all the compliments. You're so cute.
Bro, I'm trying not to cry over here.
No, I'm rolling back the if you need to cry, you need to cry. Like, let it out. But
I
you
know. It's weird. That's another thing. Like, why does it feel weird to cry, like, in public or
in
have
front
people
of
see you
people,
cry? Like, I struggle with that. I can't let people see me cry. Like, if I'm that person, if someone sees me cry, and then it makes me cry more, like when someone sees you
because
cry, and then it's just like,
it's just coming from the heart, like I'm
Yeah,
really happy
exactly.
that you felt that comfortable enough with me to be that way, you know?
Yeah.
And also to genuinely to see me for who I am. A lot of people are like, yeah, if they say I'm a bitch,
I
it's
don't care. I'm like, I love you, bro. Like I would promote like I'm ready for you to go get your law degree so you could come be my lawyer, bro. Like I'm just like I love you, bro. Like you could come see me whenever. You can call me whenever.
the
Like
love
my
is
door is
also there.
forever open for you.
The
Like yeah,
love
and
is
it's like
there.
rare because there's not that many people that I really feel that way with where I could tell you the most reckless shit and I know you will still be there to at least engage in the conversation. Even if it's to tell me, Harsha, you're fucking crazy. Like you should really think about that. Like I still respect that, like there's not many people that I feel like have the balls to just tell me what they think. Like,
You
really
know,
tell me what they think.
and I think
Because
a
I
lot of
think most
people
people
judge,
also get intimidated or, like, they think they have to sound smart to me, and it's like, "No, bro, I just want you to be
and that's
yourself.
the
Just be
thing.
you."
You, that's the thing as well. Like, I feel like people feel like they have to. Yeah, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Nah, if you tell me, yo, I'm literally not with you at all on that, or I don't understand nothing you are saying, I respect that 10 times more. And
Exactly.
I do think you can be intimidating because you have you're very intelligent, you're doing well for yourself, and that's shown. So people really feel like, oh, maybe around you have to be a particular type of way instead of understanding
No,
like
I'm like the same kid, like the same kid that left St. Martin, the same kid. Okay, who the fuck cares that I work in Microsoft? I don't even care. Like nobody should care. Like it's still me. Like I. That's a job, bro. Like it's a job. They could fire me tomorrow. Like it does not matter. Like at the end of the day, people don't realize that. And to me, it's like again, it like adds to this facade or this pedestal that I did not ask to be put on in your head. And I would rather you take me off the pedestal in your head so we could have a conversation.
but I
Like a
also feel
real.
like I can understand where that insecurity comes from because it's just like you're just looking a lot of people just look at something from one point of view instead and then
Mm.
dismiss anything else. And as soon as they see something that doesn't correlate with the pedestal or what they put you on, they begin to judge you and
Yeah.
diminish you and
Yeah.
demean you, and it's just like, wow.
I don't like that. Like, to me, that's very evil. Like
And I can understand why you fear that because it's just like, yeah, I have all these accomplishments, but I also, I like to do yoga, and
yeah,
there's
like, what
also
if I
things
didn't
that,
wanna be an engineer anymore? Like, does that make me a failure if I wanna just retreat to the forest and become one of the animals?
and I think that's what holds you back from also then just sharing your authentic self. But
Yeah.
I just want you to remember, like, yo, you're gonna lose a lot of people along the way, and it's just like, wouldn't it be better that somebody
I don't have nobody
understands
already, so I'm just like, I feel like,
exactly? So what you
my
gotta lose?
you're right. You're right.
I would say, wouldn't it be better that you have people around you who you can cry to, who you can be angry with, and they will still be there because they understand you as a person, they know your heart, they understand you as a person, and they're just like, yeah, wow. But most importantly, you understand you as a person. So it don't matter what these other people. Oh, Harsha, I thought you were a good girl. And what you thought?
Like,
And
I feel so guilty, like, to even admit right now that I smoke weed from time to time.
isn't it
Like that
nice and
for me,
recreational?
it is so nice and recreational. And like I have been like this good girl, like this whole reputation of Harsha is a good kid. Like Harsha doesn't break the rules. Harsha follows the rule, which is like again other people's bullshit that they put on me just because I happened to do well in school, which was just because I like to learn, had nothing to do with me wanting to get good grades. Like, I just like to learn shit and I just happened to be good at that. And it reflected in good grades in some bullshit system that I don't even agree with in the first place. And so then people now use that or like me doing well at learning because I like to learn as somehow like, oh, she must be a good girl. She can't but then it's also like, why is smoking pot even a bad thing? Like, why is that a negative thing? Like, why does that have to
That's the
ruin
thing why I
your
don't understand.
reputation of me?
I just think that's why I said, like, it doesn't make sense for you to think of really what people think. Because as soon as you do one thing, that's why I really don't like people putting me anywhere on a pedestal, because first of all, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because that means you expect a lot of stuff. You
It's like, I'm
expect
going
a
to
lot out of me.
disappoint you. And that's the thing. I don't like disappointing people.
I don't
That's the
care.
thing. But
I'm gonna disappoint you once in a while. I'm human.
yeah.
I can't do everything you like. I really can't. And to put that burden on someone else to constantly fulfill you, to make you happy, make you happy. Oh my gosh, the stress that comes with that. That's a lot of responsibility. And it's like, why are you putting these expectations on people? Like, what is it? No, no, it's negative. It's no, that I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't. It's really like, bruh, focus on what you can actually ask from yourself, and everything else will come. You know, that's all I could really say about that. What do I expect out of myself more, and stop expecting less? Expect less out of people. People will disappoint you. You're putting people on a pedestal, and as soon as they do something that's really something that you don't agree with, all of a sudden they fall down like the Roman Empire. Like
But it's like, I think people get off on people falling down though,
they do.
because it makes them feel good. They're like, oh, so this person I idolize ain't shit. So that means I must be better. Like, I feel like a better, which is like, I, to me, if you're like getting satisfaction out of like someone showing you who they really are, and that's somehow like not fitting into your framework for how you think they exist, even though you're not that
And you see
person
how
and you.
messed up that sounds? I'm
Exactly.
literally
Like, that's like a fucking delusional. Like, you're
no,
fucking
I'm happy.
delusional.
No, because people are envious and evil spirits. Like a lot of people need to agree that they're like envious and have evil spirits, and they wish bad on others. Because if you get a high off of someone else like falling and really like and themselves just doing terrible, you need to start thinking about, oh,
What kind
there,
of person are you?
what kind of
Exactly.
individual am I?
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Chatterbox. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to show your support by subscribing to this podcast and leaving us a review. Follow us on Instagram at the.chatterbox for teasers and updates.